We will be talking about Industry 4.0 and especially the tech trends that are driving innovation in manufacturing. And manufacturing, like so many other industries, have been completely transformed by trends like the explosion of the amount of data we have available, the Internet of Things or the industrial Internet of Things. Technologies like 5G and 3D printing, artificial intelligence, edge and cloud computing, autonomous vehicles are transforming supply chains, and on the horizon we have things like quantum computing and nanotechnology that are all really driving this fourth industrial revolution in manufacturing. And to discuss this topic today, I am very pleased to say that I'm joined today by Eric Prevost, who is the Vice President, Manufacturing and Automotive Industry Strategy Group at Oracle. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Bernard.
Yes, so nice to have you here. Where are you joining us from?
From France,
Where about in France?
in Lyon, so
Lovely,
southeast.
lovely. Yeah, I love Lyon. It's a lovely, lovely city. So close to the mountains and
Yes,
nice.
and to the
Um,
coast.
so you have over 20 years of experience working in digital and business innovation and transformation strategy roles. Your career includes senior and executive positions in management and IT strategy at IBM Global Services and Capgemini, and supporting large manufacturing companies in designing and transforming their business to a subscription-based business, which is so important nowadays. And you have also authored the Industry 4.0 white paper for the French Digital Labor Association and the AI for Manufacturing white paper for the Industrial Internet Consortium. So, and you're also the president of TRITS France and NPO, Developing Manufacturing Innovation Practices. So I can't wait to hear your views on all of this. Before we get into the content, anyone joining us live today, feel free to let us know where you're joining us from. And this is always good to see who is joining us, and feel free to ask any questions. So if you have questions for me or Eric, fire away. Make sure you post them, and we will do our best to answer them. And anyone who wants to ever re-listen to these conversations, there are lots of different ways. You can go to my YouTube channel where you can view them forever, or we will also turn each episode into a podcast episode. So if you subscribe to my podcast, you will never miss any of these super interesting sessions. So maybe we can start by defining what you see as Industry 4.0. Can you give us an overview in simple terms how you would define it, Eric?
Yes. So the term Industry 4.0, 4.0 has been created in 2011, if I'm not wrong, in Germany. And at that time, that was much more integrating the industrial equipment, standardizing the integration between different industrial equipment and some IT components. But I think that the new definition that we have right now, which is coming much more for the speech of the at the fourth industrial revolution in the World Economic Forum, is much more interesting, which is really what kind of technology that we can use right now to change the manufacturing business model for addressing the society challenges. And this is, for me, the best definition that we have right now. We have a lot of new technologies like cloud, artificial intelligence. You mentioned few of them, but I think that right now, for me, the real definition of this is really to say how the new generation of digital technology can really create a business and technology platform for addressing the next 20, 30 years of challenges and opportunities for the manufacturers.
Very good. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just having a look through the stream who's joining us. We've got someone joining us from the US, but saying he misses Leon. We've got people from India. We have
Nice.
Darius from Jakarta in Indonesia. We have someone from Lagos in Nigeria. We've got someone from the US, from Morocco, from India. So it's great to see a
All over the world.
very international
Yeah,
audience as always.
that's great.
So when we talk about Industry 4.0 or 4.0, what are you seeing with your manufacturing customers? What are the challenges or the changes that they are facing at the moment?
Yeah, I think that I see three main big changes or trends in the Industry 4.0 for the manufacturers right now. The first one is really how to accelerate and create faster and cheaper new innovative product. This is the art of the manufacturers providing some new product on the market and innovative product. And I think that their challenge right now, and for many manufacturers, for the small equipment, of small component to even the big one like Alstom that is providing a train on the market, all of them, they have to reduce their cycle of innovation and cycle of go to market. They are forced to do that by their customers, but also by the fact that they need to much more faster renew their portfolio of solutions for the market. And for me, this is one of the first very important topic for the industry, for that, how to help them to accelerate their process to innovate on the market. And also because the innovation is really right now a big part of their revenue. We have one customer, which is very strange, by the way, which is a gas cylinder manufacturer. So we cannot say that it's a very digital customer, or at least very digital company. But at the end, they're using a lot of digital for their innovation process. And the reason why they are doing that is because they have 50% of their revenue growth, which is coming from innovation, which is huge for their business. So even there, they need to really innovate constantly. So that's the first thing. The second one is really being much more a data-driven company, and really use any type of data that you can get access to think about how you can improve your company behaviors, how you can see and foresee the future, and really how you can develop new business model as well. So diversify your business, work in a better way with your customers. So that's for me the second big stuff, because data is really key right now for many manufacturers. And in terms of business change and business model, we see some new business coming on the market, right? So that are very interesting, or at least new experience that we see on the market, like L'Oreal, for instance, that built their smart little factory that they can deploy in shopping mall. So you can go to a shopping mall, you can be tested for your skin, and then you have a machine that is producing the recipes and producing your product and the packaging directly in the shopping mall. And it's a full factory. It's a small factory, but it's a full factory. You have everything inside. You have all the raw material, you have the quality, you have everything, and it's completely changing the game in terms of production process. They still have the big one in different big countries, but they also have those small manufacturing, small factories that they can deploy in many places. And another one that we have in mind as well, that I have in mind, is Carbon 3D, with a 3D printer manufacturer. And this is the one who is printing the sole of the Adidas shoes directly in the Adidas shops as well. So that's creating much more personalized product as well. So those change of business models and how to at the same time improve your productivity and creating new business models is really coming from the data. So being data driven is really very important for that. Of course, it's not just the data, it's also a whole lot of technology innovation, but it's data is very important in this. And the third one is service transformation. So really changing the relationship with customers. In two big topics. One is really in terms of relationship with customers. So a relationship in everything. So not just a relationship in the after sales, but relationships in the subscription, in the way you are serving your customer and and creating this relationship with customer. And the other one is also on the connectivity side, and how you can connect your product and how you can connect your customer as well, and how you can really have a good knowledge of how the customers is reacting to your product, is using your product, and how you are making sure that the customer has a very great experience with your innovation for the market. And for me, this is and that works for the B2B and B2C, by the way. It's the same business. Even for the one that are B2B2C, we see those kind of use cases of service transformation. So for me, that's are the very three big challenges that I see right now in the industry 4.0.
Very good. And yeah, they're all big opportunities and big challenges. And I think they're all of those three topics are worth diving into a bit more detail into them and exploring how do companies actually turn this into reality. Before we do this, I have a quick look through the stream, and we have people again joining from. We've got George from Kenya. We've got Mihail from Romania. We have got Sebastian from Paris, and we have someone from Congo, but who's working in Iraq at the moment. We've got people from Tunisia joining us and from South Africa. So it's wonderful to have you all on the stream. In addition to telling us where you're from, always let us know what you think about the content, and let us know if you have any specific questions you would like us to dive into. Okay, so let's hone in on some of these topics. What are some of the technologies that you are seeing your customers use to enable them to create more innovative products and getting those to the market quicker? So the first point you were making.
Yeah. So I would say that probably the first very innovative capability that we have right now is the cloud high performance computing. That's a very big game changer right now for creating innovation, because that's providing a way to at least an affordable way to get access to this technology. So this technology were existing in the past, but it was very, very expensive and very limited to some very big customers. So right now, everybody can use the HPC and can use the high performance computing for doing simulation on their products, which is really key for many products. And that's right now affordable for the SMEs. And for me, this is one of the very interesting big gap that we have right now in terms of technology. The second one is all the being able to understand the customer data and the product usage. I already talked about that in the previous question, but behind this, you have, I would say, three big technologies that are used to do this. The IoT, of course, for connecting the equipment and for capturing the data, collecting the data, and data science and artificial intelligence. And I'm separating both because I think that both can be used in a different way. So, of course, data science can include artificial intelligence, but by using the new generation of data science platform, we can apply much more mathematical analysis on the data and statistical analysis on the data. Even if it's not artificial intelligence, we have new way to apply really statistical analysis on a very massive amount of data. So that's also a big change right now that we see in the technology, making that same affordable as well, but also capable to really extract insight from a huge amount of data. And that's very important. So we that's close to the topic of called digital twin. It's not completely digital twin, but it's not the complete scope of digital twin, but it's a very important scope of getting insight from your connected product or connected customer, right? And on top of that, because you have to get data from your product and from your customer, connected customer, but you can also mix those data with other type of data. So you can use that with maintenance data, you can mix that with the social network data, And even, for instance, a wind turbine manufacturers that we are working with, they are monitoring the social networks to get the feedback of the citizens that are living close to the wind turbine fields, which is very important for them to reduce the noise of their wind turbines and see if the wind turbines are making noise around the area where they are, which could be a very big showstopper for them to win some deals in some places. So also capturing the different type of data, different new source of data can be very useful for the manufacturer, not only for the marketing side, but also for the design side, for really innovating in the product. So that's for me the second big stuff, capturing a lot of data and being able to consolidate the data, correlate those data, and get insight from those data. And the third big topic for me, it's the product digitalization. All the product that we are delivering on the market, they have a piece of digital part inside. So some of them more than the others. So if you're looking about the automotive market, of course, we have more and more technology, digital technology inside the car, but for small equipment, maybe for a chair, it's not true, but even for a chair, we can start to see some chairs that are connected and and even some very basic products that are more and more connected. And having digital capability in the product brings a lot of new capabilities. And the first capability that you can bring is, of course, know more your product about the usage, but it's also providing a much more smarter product, a much more personalized product, and also upgradable product. So it means that you can have a much longer time with a longer life cycle of your product by bringing some innovation to your customer without having to change the physical and the mechanical aspect of your product. So that can give some capability to really being much more innovative with your customers with potentially less effort of go-to-market than you had in the past by producing some new mechanical product or only mechanical product. So for me, that's very, very big. Those three big topics of transformation. Yeah.
Very good. So you've talked about a few examples already. You mentioned Alstom. What are some of your favorite practical examples of organizations that have really understood this and have transformed their products and made them more digital and more innovative?
In terms of digital in the product, we see that all around us, of course, because we have many products that are right now connected. But I think that where it's the most impressive is probably in the HPC, in the high performance computing. That's really where we see a lot of very big interest and big change in the way to consume the high performance computing. And for us, we have a lot of big OEMs that are using that for designing their new electric vehicle products or even autonomous vehicle. The reason why they are using that, it's because, as I said, it's not anymore a mechanical product, a car. It's as soon as you are moving to a kind of autonomous car, you also have to simulate the behavior of the mechanical parts with the autonomous part. So it's a mix of digital simulation and also mechanical simulation as well. So it's really a very big change, and for us, it's where at least the automotive market is clearly the one that is really moving forward in the fast way on this transformation of using high performance computing. And we have a partner, for instance, that is doing that. So if you want to see what we are doing with these topics, is named Altair, who is doing fluid simulation using HPC, using Oracle HPC. And that's really great that what they are doing, because they also show that all the designer of the product can work remotely as well. So which is very important in the current period, and that's also a very big change. So they can really load their data remotely, and they can do their simulation remotely, and at the end they can work with a very small laptop somewhere and launch their fluid simulation or big simulation on product without being at the office. So it's also in terms of productivity, it's a very, very big game changer as well.
Very good. You mentioned the use of data to help companies actually innovate their products, and Wafa is asking here, how do you make use of customer feedback in order to innovate? Do you have any examples there of companies that are able to do that, or any suggestions?
Yeah, at least the one that I mentioned, by the way, the wind turbine manufacturer is a very, very good one. Because this is probably one of the case where we have the most interesting industrial feedback, because they are very industrial. Of course, it's much more common in the consumer goods, but for the heavy equipment manufacturer, that's usually less the case to listen what's happening on the market and getting feedback from the market. So for us, this company is really so cannot mention the name, but this company is really doing an amazing job. We had that in the automotive as well. We have the automotive market with some OEMs that are listening the market from the social network to understand how their products are well accepted, or what are the maintenance issues that they can get from the market as well, that are not immediately identified by their dealerships network or repair network. So that can be a very good complement as well from their network that they have with the market. But the wind turbine is, for me, it's very interesting because it is a new type of data that they were not using in the past. For the automotive, I would not say that it's a new type of data, but it's in complement of what they already got from their dealerships. But for the wind turbine, it's completely new. They had no clue that they were able to capture information about the design about wind turbines from the social network. So that was a great experience for them.
Yeah, they're great examples. So if you are now a manufacturing company, you want to think, okay, I want to become more innovative. I want to create more innovative, digitally enabled products, and I want to bring them to the market faster. What are some of the key enablers there, or some of the key challenges that you see across your customer base that they need to overcome or need to put in place to enable them to actually do that?
I think that the most important for me is really to have a platform, and to think about platform, and having a platform that can really at least that may have several capabilities. But one of the capabilities that the platform has to have is really to be able to capture multiple sources of data from many places, and concentrate all those data into one place to help you to manipulate those data in the same way. And for me, it's very important to say that you don't have to. The platform have to provide you a way to manipulate those data in the same way, and not having different way to work for the different type of data. You need to play with all the data in the same way, because otherwise you cannot correlate those data together. And that's where you are starting to correlate those data together, that you are getting some value. So that's very important. And also working with your partners on those platforms, because when you are doing innovation, you're very right now it's most of the case co-innovation. You are not doing innovation by yourself. So you have to have this platform which is open to your ecosystem, open to your partners, open to your suppliers, maybe open to your customers. So that's where I think that the cloud is becoming a kind of mandatory solution for you to really open that in an easy way to your ecosystem. Also having a platform that can bring innovation very constantly as well, because there are a lot of new innovation coming on the digital market. You mentioned many of them, so HPC, AI, 5G, blockchain. So there are many innovations. I'm not saying that all the innovations are useful for everything, but at least you must be able to get access to those innovations and to try if those innovation can be applicable on your data and on your process, and without spending too much time about investigating those technologies and implementing those technologies. So you must be able to use those technologies, I would say, out of the box, to see if you can get some value from those technology very quickly, and not spending time on the technology itself. So this platform has to embed those technology natively. And I think that's for me the third big challenge or enabler that you may have as well in this approach is having a platform that can really help you to manage in the same way and in the same place the product innovation, the service innovation, and the digital innovation. Because right now you cannot think about your future by just working on product or just working on service or just working on digital solution. You need to mix all of them, and you must be able to mix all of them together to provide a complete solution for the market for your customer. And if it's separated environment or separated approach, you will be in trouble to consolidate all of them. So you need to have a consistent way to manage those three key topics in a single platform.
Very good. Let's move on to your second point that you made earlier. The fact that manufacturers are becoming more data driven and have to use data more effectively. What are the key technologies here that really help companies become more data driven?
So for when we want to be data driven, the first thing is that you need to recognize that you have to capture the multiple voices. You need to get the voice of your customers. You need to get the voice of your suppliers. You need to get the voice of your manufacturers, of your manufacturing as well, manufacturing activity. So you need to get a lot of information from many sources, and that's the first thing. So you need to collect those data, and you need as well to extract insight from that, and extract insight for your employees to improve their productivity at the end. So as you have a lot of data, you cannot manipulate those data in a simple way most of the case. So you need the artificial intelligence, or what we are calling right now, it's different, slightly different, which is adaptive intelligence, to manipulate those data and extract insight from those data. And the purpose of that is really to make the employees or the humans much smarter on what they are doing and in their day-to-day job, and make them much more comfortable in their business decisions. So for me, the first one is clearly the what we are calling the adaptive intelligence. And the adaptive intelligence is really saying that we have to have in the platform a verticalized artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence that has been built for a specific purpose. And you don't need to build your own artificial intelligence for your own stuff. You can do that for some very specific cases, but for, I would say, 80% of your cases that you have in a company, you must be able to use pre-built artificial intelligence that are serving some specific business purpose. And you can do that for finance, you can use that for procurement, you can use that for quality management, for maintenance. But the thing is that you need to really have a platform that delivers that to you, and that can really help you to very quickly bring this new intelligence and combine this new intelligence with your employee intelligence. So at the same time, it has to be very focused, but it has to be very easy to use, to make sure that your employees will be able to use that and combine those two intelligence to take decision. Because that's one of the very important stuff of the using the artificial intelligence in the day-to-day business. So that's the first one. The second one is the digital twin. So I already mentioned a little bit that, but the digital twin is really making sure that you are connecting the real-time data from the field, so from your product, but not only from your product, from the logistic, from your customers, from your workers, from your industrial machines. So every type of stuff that can be connected, you must be able to connect them. And the purpose of this is two, by the way. One is getting real-time data and making sure that you have real-time data, and that's very important for reacting quickly and even to anticipate some situation, to predict some situation. If you don't have real-time data, you can predict, of course, but you will waste time in terms of prediction. So that's one thing. And the second thing is that as soon as you have real-time data, you also have accurate data. And the purpose is really to make sure that you have accurate data. And there the question is really to remove the human mistakes in the middle. and making sure that the data that you are using is a good one, because if you want to take a good decision, you have to take the decision on the good data, on at least on accurate data. So digital twin for me, it's really this. It's not just having a three-dimensional visualization of your product. It's really connecting the real world to your business processes to help your business people to take the decision on real-time data and on accurate data. So that's what I'm calling the digital twin. And the last one is the digital thread. So the digital thread is almost similar to the digital twin, but it's really connecting all the line of business together and making sure that everybody in the company are working on the same data and taking the decision based on the same data. So that's where we are going back to a definition of a data-driven company. You cannot have 10 people using 10 Excel sheets with 10 data sources and 10 different data. If they are taking, they will take 10 different decisions. So if you want them to have a consistent way to take decisions, and you want to have them really consistent across the organization, they need to have to use the same data, and they need to manipulate the same data. So the digital thread is making sure that all the company is using the same type of data, the same accurate data, the same real-time data, even if you can place some limitation in terms of sharing data across line of business, but at the end, they need to be able to correlate data across the different business lines. So for me, that are the three key technology that we need to have for becoming a data-driven company. So artificial intelligence, real-time data, and sharing data across the different line of business. That's really key.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I very, very true. Have you got any examples of manufacturers that are really good at leveraging data?
Yeah, I can mention two of them. One is a mining company, so named MineSense. They had a lot of issue because they have a lot of cost. The cost of mining right now is very expensive because the easy mining is it's a done business. It's over. So now there have a lot of very high cost right now in the mining business. So they need to really improve their productivity and really improve their way to work. They cannot work on easy way to make margin. So they worked a lot by providing low code solutions, so low code applications to access to the data. So it means that they deliver to their organization a way to develop access to the data in an easy way, a kind of self-service approach to help every people to get access to the data in the way they want. So that's one example. And the other big example that we have is an electric equipment, B2B electric equipment manufacturer. And they implemented a lot of, they implemented IoT, they implemented SOA, several technologies and some AI as well. And what is very important is, for me, it's very impressive. They were able to improve their uptime by 60%. And they reduced their manual process by 55%, which is huge. And that's where we see the very big gap and big shift from a non-digital company and a digital company. Everything was manual before that. Very personalized services as well, because when they were building the electronic equipment or electric equipment, much more electric equipment, that was based on demand. So it was much more an engineering to order approach or make to order. And they were able to automate those processes. So that's where it was very useful for them, because even on those kind of type of business where it's very personalized for their customers, they were able to create a lot of automation in their processes and in their communication with customers, and they really had a lot of huge improvement in their KPIs. Also, the third one is also amazing. They reduced their floor space by 85%. So, which is
that's amazing. Yeah, they are big improvements.
Yeah.
we're talking about data here, and there's a really good question here from Professor Taha.
Yeah.
How about security and cyber in digital transformation, and especially for manufacturing systems and machining systems? I guess we can't talk about data without touching on security
That's
and
true.
cyber, right?
Yeah. At least there are, for me, there are two big topics around the data or security on the data. There is the question of the ownership and the localization of the data. And that's another topic of which is not the security, but which is also very important in terms of data. Who is owning the data? So at Oracle, we took the decision that the customer is clearly the owner of the data. So and the thing that we are setting up as well, it's also it's depend of the platform. But the way we are working at Oracle is that making sure that Oracle people cannot see the data. So we cannot get access to the data of our customer. So we cannot use it and we cannot see them. And so we have a native security embedded in the platform where the Oracle people can manage the infrastructure, the IT infrastructure, the cloud infrastructure, but without getting access to the data. So that's also a very important point in the cloud. Because not every clouds are working in this way, but having a very highly secure cloud and natively secure cloud is a very important point, right? And there is also another part on the security as well, which is the security of the connectivity. Connectivity with the edge device or the connectivity with the machines. And for that, of course, there are a lot of, we have many partners on that. The thing is, of course, we are working on new protocols like the 5G as well that are making that much more secure. We have some secured communication, but you can still have some open door on the edge device. So that's where I think that we are working with partners that are securing the edge device as well, the edge devices as well, to make sure that you don't have any open door on the edge devices. But you're right, cybersecurity is a very important point. It has to be natively, or at least we are calling that by design, by the way. We need to have the security by design. And security and scalability as well, because both are also very highly connected. Because if you want to build something, you need to build something that is very reliable and reliable in a large scale. So working on so making sure that your platform is scalable and it's secure in a scalable way. That's a very, very important step, right?
Very good. So what is stopping companies from becoming more data driven? What do you see when you speak to companies?
I think that the first one is organizing their data. So most of the case, they can get access to many data, and they have even too much data in many places, but they don't know how to organize the data. And one of the big challenge for the manufacturers is really how to organize the data across the different line of business or across the different activities without having to build their own data model. Because building a data model for a manufacturing company, it's a huge work. That's where you can spend years and years to build this data model and to maintain it as well. So the question for them is really how to organize in a simple way the data. And that's one of the key topics that where we are focusing at Oracle to provide some specific data model for manufacturing. The second one is close to the first one, but making sure that you have artificial intelligence embedded in your data management platform. Because same, you can have a huge amount of data, but if you are not able to extract insight from the data is useless. So you must be able to manipulate the data in an easy way. And same, I would say in the last 5 years, those way to manipulate the data requested more to have data scientists. But in the evolution of the solution that we have on the market, we are moving more and more to provide the AI capability to the end users, and not needing any more data scientists, again, for probably 80% of what you can do with the data. And the third one is the integration with the business applications. integration with the business processes. Because if you are not making your data actionable, same, it's useless. Once you are getting an insight, you need to have the side effect of this, and you need to make that actionable. And if you are not able to make that actionable and to keep the traceability from the source of the data, the insight, and the action, that's not where you cannot improve that in the future, by the way. So you need to have a continuous loop of improvement, and so you need to have something which is natively integrated between the data and the business processes. So that's where it's not easy, by the way, right now, because in the past it was very organized per silo, and the big question right now is that even if you are getting IoT data from a machine, industrial machine, sensor data or temperature data, if you are taking an action in terms of maintenance, you need to connect this maintenance activity with your IoT data and keep this traceability as well. Because if you, in the future, you need to analyze the root cause, and that can come from any other data from your data sets that are maybe not the event itself, you must be able to do this.
Very good. Let's move to the third point you raised in the beginning, this move to a service model, this whole service transformation, the business model transformation, and better connectivity. What are some of the key technologies that are really driving this transformation or enabling companies to transform their products to a service model?
So of course, the first one is IoT, historically, for connecting your equipment, because if you want to move to a real service excellence and even subscription services, you need to be connected with your service and be connected with your product that are part of your service and your customers that are part of your service. So the IoT is one of the key technology for doing this. But also on top of the IoT, right now we see more and more the 5G communication as well, that is there to really help to accelerate the deployment of service as well. So it means that the 5G microservices or the platform for running 5G's capabilities is also very important, because as soon as you are moving to this type of communication, you can segregate the type of communication that you want to have with the devices, and being even much more real time and much more focused on which type of interaction you want to have with your service or with your product. So IoT and 5G are two key stuff. And of course the artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence in the service analysis, but also artificial intelligence in your interaction with your devices. So artificial intelligence in your integration with your edge devices or with your customer as well. And you need to deploy your intelligence on the both sides. You need to deploy your intelligence, what we are calling the hybrid intelligence. You need to have your intelligence in back office artificial intelligence in your cloud, and you need to have your front office intelligence close to your customer or close to your service or close to your product. And so you need to have those kind of architecture of hybrid intelligence between the edge and the back office. And setting up that is setting up this organization of artificial intelligence is really, for me, it's really key, because you cannot do service right now without proposing any smart services or really advanced services or advanced product to your customer, smart product to your customer. So that is really key. And the last one, again, it's but I mentioned that in the previous one, is that when you are moving to the service, you need to connect again your IoT or artificial intelligence to your business applications. You need to connect that to your service management operation, service management. The reason why you need to do that is because when you are doing service to your customer, it's not just digital service. It's not just calling the customers. It's also a supply chain of spare parts. It's also billing the customer. And it's so, and all of that has to be fully adjusted based on the consumption, based on the usage, and that's part of the customer experience. If
Mm.
the customer is not receiving the right bill based on the consumption, he will not be very happy. And by the way, at the end, you are failing in your service activity, which is
Mm.
supposed to be a very great customer experience. So making sure that your technology service approach is really connected to your business applications and to your business processes for your end-to-end customer experience. It's a very, very key topic. Yes.
I love it. And you've already given some fascinating examples. I love the L'Oreal example that moves
Yep.
manufacturing into the stores. I like the Adidas example. Do you have any others that you really like, where you feel that this is a manufacturer that has successfully managed the transition towards the service model?
Yeah, at least we have. I can mention two. One is Bosch. Bosch. I think it's thermodynamics, something like that. That we are managing the boilers and the heaters, and they are really managing remotely their equipment and providing a high level of service for their customers. So that's one example. But it's still a mix between B2B and B2C. But it's not very. I would say it's a very great evolution in their business. So in terms of customer experience and customer satisfaction. But another one which is very interesting is one that completely rebuilt this business model around service, like Carbon 3D for the Adidas shoes, but for the B2B business, for the industrial manufacturing. So Noble Plastic, for instance, which is one of our customers, they are making machines, industrial machines for plastic molding. And right now they are connecting their machines, of course, for doing predictive maintenance, but also for doing remote calibration of the machines. So it means that they can really readjust the behavior of the machines on the fly based on the customer needs for the B2B business. And that's a very, very innovative approach,
Mm.
because usually in the past they were needed to go to the customer, look about the request of the customer, sending technician, recalibrating the machine, and so on. So right now they are able to do that remotely, and they are providing some recalibration of machine remotely. So it means that when the customer want to have more flexibility in his production line, they can add on the fly a new level of flexibility in the machine that they are providing to their customers. So that's upgradable and also flexible. And by doing this, they are able to provide some new level of flexibility for their B2B customers. So that's a very big change.
Yeah, I love that example. I was just looking through a few questions that have
Yep.
come in, and people are asking about the impact of this whole industry 4.0 transformation on the workforce. Do you have any views on that? Because I guess whenever you talk about bringing in technology, automating it, artificial intelligence, robots, all the things we talk about, people are getting a bit scared, saying, what does it mean for people? What does it mean for future skills? So I've had a few questions around future skills and a few
Mhm.
questions about the impact of on the workforce in general. Do you have any views on that?
Of course, yeah. So for the workforce, the question is really so there are two evolution on the relationship between this new technology and the workforce. One is on the automation. So we will have more and more automation, of course, and this automation can, of course, replace some workforce, as we had in the past with robotics or the other CNC machines. We already had those type of technological innovation that replaced the human activity and manual activity. So of course it will do the same. But when we see the past, and I don't know if you already all heard about that, but there were some economical studies about the impact of the robots on the workforce, and the deployment of robotics did not reduce the workforce. The thing that reduced the workforce was much more the outsourcing of the activity to low-cost country, at least for the European one, when we had robotics. But if we look about the number of workforce versus the number of robots, the robots created more workforce than remove some workforce. So there is no there were no impact on the robotics on the workforce, and no negative impact on the robotics on the workforce. So I don't think that it will be. I think that will be exactly the same with a new generation of automation that we can see right now in the with using the digital. So that's one thing. And in terms of skill set, that's true. That need a lot of new skill sets. That needs at least skill set that are mixed between the mechanical and the digital, and also chemical as well with mechanical. Because if we look about the 3D printing, for instance, the 3D printing is becoming chemical. It's not mechanical anymore, and for building the same part. So it means that the skill set of right now creating a new product for the market, it's much more diversified than in the past, because it will become digital, it will become chemical, it will become mechanical, and I'm not sure that we will be able to have one person to do this. So that's potentially where it will also create some workforce, because we will need to have much more work as a team, instead of having one single expert that will be able to address all the different aspects of the product. And just to add something on the automation and the AI, because I think that the AI is a very important point around all of that. I would say when I talked about the 80% of AI that we can use for the day-to-day business, that should be embedded in the day-to-day activity for procurement, for finance, even for predictive maintenance on the other one. The purpose of those AIs are not to replace people. They are there to really help people to take a better decision, and in a much more comfortable way. So it's similar to the safety feature that we had on the machine in the past, but much more for taking business decision. It's really making the people less in stress and less in a very uncomfortable situation to take decision, to give them more information about potential scenarios or potential forecast or potential list of best actions. But it's not replacing the human to take the decision. And that's not the trend of the AI right now, at least of most of the AI that we are producing on the market. It's much more there to really help the people to take a decision, and we keep the human to take the decision at the end.
Very good. Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Now let's take a look into the future. What are the kind of things you see on the horizon? What future technologies or developments are you excited about? And how do you see Industry 4.0 developing in the future?
So first, I think that the Industry 4.0 will really take in consideration more and more the society needs. So it means that we will have more and more. We are just at the beginning for me of the Industry 4.0, or the fourth industrial revolutions. Exactly as we got in the past revolutions, we got the electricity, but at the end, the electricity did nothing. All the stuff that the innovation that really built the third industrial revolution or the second industrial revolution were all the products that have been built on electricity, the motors, the machines, the CNC machine, and so on. So we are just at the beginning in this. We have a foundation right now with 5G, with AI, with cloud, and we will see more and more out-of-the-box product and solution that will come to really create some very game changer and very big innovation. So I think that that's for me, it's a very important point. And behind this, we have so many use cases that we need to address around environmental constraints, changing the way to develop product, because we have less and less capability to use the oil product, at least the oil to build cheap product and stuff like this. So we need to completely change the way to produce, but also to deliver with the short cycle for delivery, the new supply chain. So that lot of big change on that, and I think that we will have in the Industry 4.0 more and more topics about addressing those topics. So we will have more and more technology to address those topics, and having much more end-to-end approach than just thinking about the technology itself. Mm-hmm. So for me, this is the evolution of the Industry 4.0. That will be much more use cases on real use cases instead of the technology itself. and the technology will be potentially be completely hidden by those use cases. And then, of course, in terms of technology, 5G is one of the big ones that will really change. I will not talk about quantum computing because it's still far. I don't know exactly what will be the use cases behind this, but that will probably come and change some stuff, mainly in the HPC or in the simulation or security or stuff like this. But also augmented reality, for instance, it's very promising topic, where we see a lot of capability to really augment the human and providing to the human also a great new capability, or at least a helper to do his day-to-day business. So if we think about augmented reality and artificial intelligence, I think that both together will really bring some new use cases that will be very, very interesting. And then also in terms of business model of manufacture, I think that's where it will be also a very big shift when we talk about the micro factory, like the one that I mentioned with L'Oreal, but we also have that in the automotive market with a company named Local Motors in US that is printing a small bus in a 3D printer in one piece. So they don't have assembly line anymore. They are printing almost everything, 90% of the vehicle just with one 3D printer that they can deploy in a container almost everywhere. So we will see those kind of new business model around manufacturing that we will have to address, and that will have to be connected with the rest of the business processes as well, because that will not be a standalone activity, but that will be connected with the rest. And of course, some piece of autonomous factory. So that will come with more and more AI capability and capability in automation with collaborative robot, but with new generation of robot, with AGV, with a lot of industrial technology to really bring some next level of automation in the shop floor, and moving slowly to a much more automated factory. But again, I think that the automated factory, it's not bad for the workforce as well, because that will probably be compensated by more workforce in terms of maintenance, in terms of intelligence as well, because when we move to automated factory, it's not just one-to-one, but it's really moving to a flexible factory, automated as well, so much more complexity to manage. So that will request much more people to design that, much more people to maintain that, but also much more people to deliver the product and to create new business around those automated factory. So yeah, a lot of great stuff. For me, manufacturing is really the key. The manufacturing and digitals, that are the two industries that where we will see the most impressive transformation in the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah, this has been so fascinating, Eric. Thank you so much for sharing your really interesting thoughts on this. I agree with you on many of the points that you've made, especially looking into the future. I see this already happening, that some of the technologies will be hidden, as you say. We already see this in AI, that you simply use an application to do something better without thinking about some of the processes and algorithms in the background. And I 100% agree with you on the point you made, that manufacturing needs to transform. We have a huge environmental challenge that we need to tackle. Manufacturing is a big contributor to climate change and using up resources that we haven't got in the world. So this is another huge impetus, and I think technology can really help with all of this. So
yeah,
I agree with you. Manufacturing will be completely transformed over the next few years, bringing back manufacturing from low-cost countries to even to little micro factories like the one you mentioned in the L'Oreal example, which I absolutely loved. So thank you so much for your time. Anyone who joined us today, as always, let us know what you think. Put it in the comments, share your ideas, and any questions you have raised, we will try to answer offline, hopefully. So we'll get to everything you have asked us. Thank you so much, everyone, and as
Thanks a
always,
lot.
stay safe. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Bernard.